Hi everyone, my name is Maro and today I will present you the hardware part of our project Free Smart Home. In order to fully understand what I mean, make sure you've already seen the two first videos about the project introduction and the presentation of the team members. All links are available on the description below. So, as a reminder, we want to create a home automation project with all of these 6 modules. Obviously, you can choose which module you want and even create your own. To achieve this ambitious project, we need a central computer which controls all the modules and also hosts a website as a user interface. If you are familiar with electronics and especially with Internet of Things, you certainly know that this central computer will be a Raspberry Pi. For the beginners, a Raspberry is a godlike thing because it's a small, inexpensive, and energy-efficient computer which is based on the Linux distribution called Raspbian. If you are a beginner with this Raspberry, I advise you to buy the whole starter kit, which include the Raspberry Pi motherboard, a power supply, a protecting case, heatsinks, and a SD card with its USB adapter. Don't panic, all the links will be in the description of this video. As you can see on this picture, the Raspberry Pi has a lot of GPIO pins, just like an Arduino, in order to manage external devices like sensor, relay, button, and so on. So, if we want, we can do all this automation project with only one Raspberry Pi. But the problem is that we should have all components in the same place with wire connections. And this is not practical if we want a smart automation in our house with several rooms. That's why we decided to use external modules that are wirelessly connected to the Raspberry Pi. This external module is the ESP32. If you are not familiar with it, this is basically like an Arduino, but with a Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connection integrated. So the idea is that the Raspberry sends order over Wi-Fi connection to the ESP32. And this card will use a GPIO pin to control something according to the orders she just received. This remote module can also receive data from a sensor and send this value to the Raspberry Pi, which will print it on the web page. So now I'm done with the central computer. It's time to detail the constitution of each remote module. The first one is the control camera. There are several ways to create a camera over the internet. Firstly, we can connect a USB webcam to the Raspberry Pi and install a program called Motion. After a bit of configuration, the Raspberry will be able to manage a live stream on the web page. This method has the drawback that the camera has to be wired to the Raspberry, so we can't install it everywhere we want. The second way is to use another Raspberry to make the live stream that the first one can access to link it on the web page. If you do this, I advise you to use a Raspberry Pi Zero. It's pretty much the same that the Raspberry Pi 3, but it is less powerful and cheaper. The power is just enough to accept one USB camera. With this method, it is possible to put the camera where we want if it's nearby a power outlet and in the house Wi-Fi range. The last way that I will present here is to buy an IP camera and transfer the live stream link to the Raspberry Pi. Feel free to use one of more of these 3 methods for your home project. For the radar and water tank station, we will use a ESP32 connected to an ultrasonic sensor in order to measure the water level into the tank. The other sensor is a DHT22, which will measure the temperature and humidity. All of these information are sent to the Raspberry Pi, which print it on the web page. The lighting management system is made of a ESP32 connected to a relay in order to switch on and off the light. And why not use a dimmer which will vary the brightness of another light? Obviously, orders are sent by the Raspberry Pi through the website interface. You can of course duplicate this electrical assembly as many as we want to control more and more lights. The heating station can be managed by a ESP32 or by the central Raspberry Pi, thanks to the GPIO pin. The sensor used for the humidity and temperature measurement is a DHT22 like used for the weather station. This system needs also a relay to command the central heating. For the pet food management, we will use a ESP32 with a HX711 module to measure the weight of the food. As usual, data are sent to the central Raspberry Pi. And for the last module, the shutter management, you will need obviously at least one electric shutter and a relay module to supply it. We can use the ESP32 for each shutter in the house, or control whole system with only one Raspberry if all wires are connected in the same electrical box. We want to close the shutter when the sun is shining in order to keep a constant house temperature. So we will need a ESP32 with a photoresistor and a 100K ohm resistor in order to measure if the sun is shining or not. Okay, now I think I said all that we will need for this home automation project. Please don't panic, all links are in the description below. That's already the end of this video about the hardware part. The next video will be dedicated to the software of the project, namely about the website, the programming methods, and communication between modules. I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Bye bye!